There's more pretty girls than one. More pretty girls than one. Any old town that I ramble all around. And there's more pretty girls than one. Mama talked to me last night. She gave to me some good advice. She said, son, you better quit this old rambling all around. Marry you, sweet love wife.
You go again, son. Hot stuff. I'm sitting here with the fabulously talented Sean Watkins.
Oh, thank you.
Nickel Creek Watkins Family Hour. That was awesome. What was that again?
It's called More Pretty Girls Than One, and I heard it originally from this really, really influential record on me and my sister Sarah Watkins, who I play with. It's Ricky Skaggs and Tony Rice, and they made it in like a weekend.
And that totally turns you on.
Oh yeah,
totally
it was just so cool because it was really simple. It was just two voices and two instruments, and you could hear what was going on. I learned a lot of the rhythm stuff that I know now from that.
How does a kid from San Diego find this music?
When I was about 7 years old, my parents they wanted me to learn an instrument, you know, and so I started taking piano lessons, and I was taking from this woman who gave lessons at her home, and she had a son that was a bluegrass musician, and I would go there weekly. After a couple of years of it, she was like, you should go see my son's band play. He's really good. They play once a week at this pizza place. It's called That Pizza Place in Carlsbad, California. So we went, and it was really cool. Like as a kid, it was something that I could totally latch onto. You know? This is way before I would have discovered rock and roll and stuff like that. I was, 8 and 9.
So you're just a wee kid.
Yeah. And I started realizing that I liked this music and started taking lessons from my piano teacher's son. But yeah, and it just, I fell into this weird little pocket that just happened to be a little scene in San Diego. Yeah, that was
bluegrass
playing
in San Diego.
Yeah, and it was very, very modernized. They would do like covers, like Beatles covers, and
because that's super modern.
Yeah, but I mean, like Beach Boys, Beach
Yeah.
Boys, or like Johnny Cash, or old country things.
Right.
Just stuff that was, it wasn't the stuff that was happening in like Virginia.
Well, do you remember any of those old stuff you might have played or you might have heard at the pizza place? What was it called again?
It's called That Pizza Place.
That Pizza Place.
I believe it's still there.
Really?
Basically, what I was kind of born and raised on musically was just these old fiddle tunes, And there's like kind of a set repertoire of about, 20, 25 that everybody has to know,
Right.
And one of them is called Red Haired Boy. It's kind of an Appalachian adaptation of it was originally an Irish tune. Some bluegrassers kind of turned it into more of an American bluegrass thing. But it's that was one of the very first ones I learned.
Yeah, man.
And that's how I grew up. It's like someone playing a melody and then kind of calling out the chords. And then you play it, and it was really, really fun. It's very, very much dependent on your ear.
It's just all about following your ear. But I was noticing. Well, first of all, what's that pick that you got there?
Yeah, in sort of the bluegrass tradition, good flat picking guitar, the right hand is really important for the sound. A lot of times people will, have this kind of swiveling, little, like, not swiveling, but like an up down, like.
Right.
Where their wrist is just going like that. And really, for like in bluegrass flat picking, you want your wrist to sort of swivel more, so it's like coming out and then
circular.
Like so you're kind of like, it's like if your hand hurts and you're shaking it.
Okay, all right.
And you want it to be as loose as possible, and you want kind of like your forearm and shoulder to do more of the work. And pick strokes, I have a very strict kind of up and down. One is a down stroke, and the and will be an up stroke. So it's like if you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So your hand is always in that motion, and you don't have to think about.
Right.
You don't have to think about what your next pick stroke is going to be. You know, and a lot of people don't follow the rules. Tony Rice's pick stroke pattern is completely his own, and it adds so much to his style. You know,
Right, to what he sounds
it's
like.
really hard to sound like him without
Right.
doing those pick strokes. So everyone's got their own way of doing it, but that's mine.
Cool, man. This is like an old is this a B?
It's an LG2,
LG2?
I believe, and it was given to me by I have to name drop Jackson Brown.
Nice.
He has an amazing collection of guitars, but for quieter stuff and for finger picking, it really sings.
I'm glad you mentioned the finger picking because I was going to ask you about getting into some finger picking. You want to take us there? And how did you?
I learned it. You know, it came after learning about the flat picking stuff. My teacher kind of showed me a few patterns. You know, basically just playing some bass notes and then
alternating
the high strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it'd be like like. That kind of stuff was like an early pattern that I learned. You know, kind of the freight train. You know.
Freight train going so fast.
That was one of the. Maybe that was the first song I learned that was finger picking, and
Elizabeth Cotton, right?
Yeah, Elizabeth Cotton, who I guess wrote that song when she was 11 years old. She was left-handed, so she played left-handed with upside down strings.
Yeah.
So she's playing all these amazing, really cool bass note patterns, but she was doing the bass notes with these fingers, and then the high notes with these.
It's like completely opposite.
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
all of us, right-handers have adopted that to
Right.
She was kind of one of the first people to do it.
That's crazy.
I didn't really use it that much for a while until we started doing, Nickel Creek kind of started doing more of adventurous things and writing our own songs and not just playing bluegrass songs.
It's kind of funny because like, you got into bluegrass music, old time music so early. You know, like you said, you were like 9 or whatever when you were exposed to it. Were you ever influenced by anything that was on the radio or anything?
Yeah, I mean,
anything, I guess, modern music? I don't know.
Like when I started listening to what was on the radio, it was like Nirvana.
Sure, yeah.
The early 90s kind of grunge stuff that was what my friends listened to. Pearl Jam,
Right.
and then the
Metallica, Guns N' Roses.
that kind of stuff, yeah. And I was embarrassed that I played bluegrass. Really, I didn't tell anybody. I just didn't think it would fly.
Right.
And
it'd be funny that if anybody knew what it was, though. They
didn't. And then one of my teachers saw me playing at like my grandma's church or something. Me and my sister was like, "You have to come in and play for the class." I was like, "No, don't make me."
No.
Yeah, I was like this mortified.
Worst nightmare.
So then she's like, "Yeah, you got to do it." And I think she gave me like extra credit or something.
Right.
Bribed me somehow.
Yeah.
So finally, I'm standing in front of the class with my guitar and my little sister who was like, 8 or 9, and we played some bluegrass tune. She played fiddle, and it was this weird thing. Like they were like, "Whoa, A, we didn't know you played anything. B, like what the heck is this kind of music?
Yeah, what is that?"
They've never heard bluegrass before, and they were kind of like. At first, it was like, "Wow, you're weird," and then I remember a lot of the guys who kind of played guitar started asking me for like lessons on. Because they realized I could learn stuff by ear pretty quickly.
Right.
So they would bring me like, I remember that's how I had to learn like Metallica riffs. And,
Bring you an AC/DC tape.
Yeah,
right.
totally. I learned, like Come As You Are. That was a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wanted
the easiest, for me, that was like the most bonehead thing.
Right.
So I would just learn it and show it to them. And then all of a sudden it was like this door opened where they could learn these songs and like girls like.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, you're meeting girls.
And so I kind of had to learn these like little rock riffs.
Is there any Radiohead that you?
I mean, there's one that I kind of, I don't know if I can remember all the words. In Radiohead's experimentation, they're like, you can strip them down to
there's a
really
song
great
there,
songs. I mean,
yeah.
like you can take, like I heard them do a live version of Kid A, where he didn't have the effect on his voice, and it was just so beautiful, and like it was a real song, you know. And so it's
Right.
like, you can take most of their songs and play them like as a folk song, you know, like Gillian Welch does. Who's in a bunker? Who's in a bunker? Women, children first, and the children first, and the children I laugh until my head comes off. Swallow till I burst, until I burst, until I. Who's in a bunker? Who's in a bunker? I have seen too much. You haven't seen enough. You haven't seen it. I laugh until my head comes off. Swallow till I burst, until I burst, until I hear your love. Everything all of the time. Hear your love. Everything all of the time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
so I think that's the testament of a good song. You know,
If you can strip it down, if you can
if you can strip it down to its bare essentials and just play guitar and
take
sing
all
it.
its clothes off, if it still looks good, then it's a song.
I've learned that that's something I really appreciate. And
Man,
so
awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in today, man.
I'm so happy
Sean
to be
Watkins,
here. It was lots
man.
of fun. Dude, so much
that
fun,
was
Jackie.
awesome, brother. That was awesome,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you so much.